In the light of the upcoming One UI 7, let's take a moment and talk about where we are. It's 2024 still, and most probably until the end of the year, we are gonna be getting the One UI 7 first beta. Hopefully for the S24 Ultra and the S23 Ultra, and of course the others to follow. And then next year, 2025, with the S25 lineup, Samsung will introduce, hopefully, the One UI 7 stable, which of course is going to be based on Android 15. On the right, I do have my current daily driver, that's the Samsung S24 Ultra. It does run the One UI 6.1 version, it's Android 14, it has all the nice AI stuff from the One UI 6.1.1. And on the left, guys, I do have this little small phone. This is the Samsung Galaxy S9. And by the way, the back is covered because it's fully shuttered, as it survived a fall from the 7th floor. But this S9 is very special to me because it flew over from Japan to here, as it has the Snapdragon version. You probably remember how it used to be, at least in Europe. We'll be getting all the Exynos, and States, Japan, etc. We're getting the Snapdragon version. So I'm really attached to this one. But okay, I told you about the back. Let me show you. Yeah, it's a very beautiful design. Alright, it is branded by a Japanese operator, of course I debranded it, and it fell from the 7th floor with another case, but it survived. As you can already tell, those phones are very different. So this one was released in 2018, this was released in 2024. So for 6 years we have all these nice cameras on the back, more durable materials, we have new One UI versions, new software, everything. But believe it or not, this phone has some things that this phone doesn't. First thing, very memorable, is the aperture. So we have two apertures here that you can choose from, and there is actually a mechanism inside that controls this. And of course we can use the sensor here to measure our finger pulse. But I don't want to talk about hardware in this video, it's mainly about One UI. As I said in the beginning of the video, in the light of the upcoming One UI 7, which probably is going to be one of the biggest updates, I want to see where we were 6 years ago, where we are now, and hopefully what can be changed in the future. And I'm going to be starting with the first thing, is that a lot of these things here really scream Samsung. Alright, we can see the icon here of the phone, the gallery icon, the Galaxy Store icon, like those icons are here, and they've been here since the last 6 years. You probably watched my One UI 7 videos. Some of these icons are gonna get changed. I do believe this is a nice revamp. But those are actually only the icons. They are really things that you can do on these phones that you cannot do on these phones, and they are not really so minor. So for example, if I hold this icon here, right, I can use my other finger to try to move it around. And for example, on the S9 I can be holding this icon here, but then I don't have this option like this dual touch move. But let's start and compare some of the basics, and by just entering here we can already see animations are faster, smoother. Check the clock icon. It is still the same icon 6 years. There is, by the way, a new icon, a new APK. You can install it and it works, but I just reverted it back so that you can see. What about the calculator? Same story, although of course this one supports Material View. So a lot of the things are still the same, but a lot of the things changed. And one of the biggest changes is in the control panel. Alright, so one swipe here from the right will give you the control panel. And here, guys, I'm gonna get the view with the quick settings and the notifications, which I can get when swiping here in the middle. But take a look at this. This was 2018, and this is 2024. I really love this design so much more. Everything really stands out. We have this nice padding, we have a nice separation. And on the S9 with the One UI 2.1, it's just a bit too messy, chaotic, unorganized. We are now back on the home screen, so let me show you some of these icons. Now I do have a feeling that, for example, this airplane is just the same icon, like 6 years, the same icon. So clearly this needs to change. It's the same for the Wi-Fi. See the Wi-Fi icon, all right, still the same icon. I do prefer this view, and by the way, this thing is changing for sure in One UI 7. I really hope that they're not gonna mess it up and make it worse, because this is really, really good. What happens if I press, for example, device control? I can choose Google and SmartThings. Here I do only have the option for SmartThings, but I can pretty much do the same things, and going back again to the home screen. Let me show you the volume slider, because you might have forgotten this. This is the volume slider from One UI 2.1, and this is the volume slider from One UI 6.1. And you can clearly see how Samsung really are going into this specific direction and trying to unify a lot of the visual elements so that they will be everywhere the same. A pillar here, a pillar there, a circle there. And overall, I do believe they're doing a good job. Let's try to go in the settings menu. The layout is the same. You cannot see this, but just this accent color here is a bit more on the darker side. New icons here indicating notifications or display or battery. But the settings menu is an interesting one because it pretty much looks the same. Now let's try to open some folders. And you can see how quicker the latest iterations of One UI are. One more time, going back to the home screen, everywhere we have this nice blur applied. But check this, if I'm unraveling the notifications, we have this blur that is fantastic, by the way. Doesn't happen here, guys. All right. See, there are really some visual accents that are quite different in the latest One UI iterations compared to what we had, like, say, 6 years ago. Now let's try to open an application. Let's go for Telegram. All right, and now going outside, right, and see this zooming in, zooming out of the wallpaper is just fantastic. And of course, you don't have it here. Check it. I'm using the same wallpaper everywhere, so that is made very clear. All right, one more time, going outside, and then you can see what happens. What about the dialer? It is pretty much the same dialer. Of course, there are some accent icons that are different. And of course I have Wi-Fi calling here, but there are a lot of elements that are unchanged with time. And I do believe that with One UI 7, Samsung will have a fresh chance to redesign a lot of these things. And not that they're bad, right? But they promised a complete overhaul, so I'm just thrilled what we're gonna see. And they already started to do so. So let's see, this is the weather app from like 6 years ago. And again, we have raindrops here. It's nice and beautiful, but take a look here. So much simpler, right? And I do really prefer the new one. Now widgets, going outside, see, again, very nice animations inside, same story. I can also show you with Spotify. Let's open Spotify. All right, take some time on the S9, cannot blame it. Now going outside, all the widgets have these nice rounded corners. And honestly, I do believe that this widget design would have been so nice on this phone with this display that is curved and also with the edges here. But alright, 2018, this wasn't the fashion. And at some point in Android 12 and 13, this was the new thing, and we have things like this. And in One UI 7, I think there's going to be a radical change. They're going to be even more compacted. Let's check some more Samsung native or stock apps. For example, the Galaxy Store. Alright, the same icon, guys, for 6 years. And it pretty much has the same design. So Samsung might think about changing some things in the Galaxy Store as well. I mean, you see Play Store is changing all the time, right? Let's check the gallery. All right, pictures, album, stories, we pretty much have this very same gallery. And this is, believe it or not, one of the best galleries I ever use. I really like it and I don't want to go away from it. Yes, I know I have thousands of pictures. Let's go outside, now back on the home screen. Now let's check the camera department. Because One UI 7 will for sure introduce some changes in the interface by bringing up some of the menus from here to here, from top to bottom. But guys, take a look at this, all right? I'm using photo here, photo here. It is pretty much the same design. Of course, it's filled inside, but it's pretty much the same. And this has been going on for like 6 years, all right? And that's not bad. Don't get me wrong, that's not bad. We have the same things on top, but it could be also a good idea for Samsung to try to redesign those things. And if we even go inside the settings, you're gonna see camera settings, they kind of follow the same design language for the last 6 years and more, since One UI pretty much started. And this here is One UI 2.1. This here is One UI 6.1. So as a recap, if we take over from 2018 and we land in 2024, a lot of the things are still familiar, and that's not bad. I mean, Apple is doing this, right? For like 10 years, everybody's happy. People that have been consistently using Samsung phones over the years pretty much speak this language. But at the same time, a lot of the things are different, right? We have a different quick settings menu. We have a different style for notifications. And this here is just the tip of the iceberg. So One UI being on top of Android. But if we also have to consider hardware, we have 60 Hz versus 120 Hz. We have higher resolution. We have 60 Hz here versus 120 Hz here. We have bigger displays. We have more cameras, more powerful chips. So at the end of the day, one might say that the only thing in common is that nothing is really in common. But the moment you start using this, and if you have used this 6 years ago, then it's definitely the same. It's like more of the same. But One UI 7 might change this, and hopefully it's gonna be for the better. Let me know, guys, what you think down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. VST over and bye.